What's up guys, welcome to Malifaux. It feels like it's been a while. I've been super busy with work and this is my first game since back in January I think. And there's a fair amount of carnage, so I hope you enjoy it. Like the pro I am, I forgot to take a picture of the game before we started. So I'll go up to the first photo of turn 1. We've got trees, which are as they always are, height, 1 million, blocking terrain, houses. The black bits are what you can walk along like normal. Wow, actually I didn't really appreciate it. This is the first time I've seen that. Dark Sphere's been improving its stocks. These rocks are height various, like height 2 or 3, blocking impassable terrain. These pillars are blocking impassable, but we can walk through the middle bit like normal. These hedges are height 1, severe terrain, can push through them. These fences, soft cover, hazardous terrain. And some more over here. Because I like hazardous terrain and I feel there should be more of it around. I lose deployment and set up first, and so from the left we've got the Chihuahua of Doom, Slayer of Lilith. And keep your eye on him because he's going to have a good game this time as well. Chiaki the niece, with Pull of the Grave. Sebastian, with Those Are Not Ours, not Moonlighting, I'm a freaking idiot. Dr. Douglas McShit on the Ruins of Your Morning, with Moonlighting, Decaying Aura, Plastic Surgery and Zero Fucks. Rowan Nilsson, a Rotten Bell, the Carrion Emissary, with Conflux of Forbidden Knowledge, and another Rotten Bell. Didn't get a picture of my opponent's deployment, which really sucks because I'm also blanking on what was where. We've got the Scribe, an Executioner with Ready to Work, Francisco with Wade In and Hermanas de Armas. There was a Guild Lawyer over here. Lucius Matheson with Secret Objectives, Secret Assets, and Surprisingly Loyal. There was an Ostringer behind this tree, a Changeling, and a Hunter that was around here somewhere. So, to the plan. I've brought my toolbox crew again, with one slight change in that I've dropped the nurse for another bell. The reason for that being that Lure is king in Headhunter missions. And since the strategy rewards killing, Mark for Death is a no-brainer. So no originality there. And I'm fully expecting my guild opponent to be doing the same thing. Because I'm already going to be interacting for Mark for Death, and Accusation is a little bit tricky. Remembering to do it before the opponent has activated is a bit too much for my tiny brain, so I'm going to not do that. Claim Jump could, reasonable to do on this map, especially when you've got this kind of divided, shielded flanks. But it's going to split my crew up, and I want everyone bunched together to make headhunting and Mark for Death easier. So the choice is Leave Your Mark or Undercover Entourage for my second scheme. McMorning is fantastic for Undercover Entourage, but I haven't had much success in keeping him alive yet, and without the nurse for some emergency surgery, I'm not particularly confident about my chances this game, especially because I know Lucius can put up a surprising amount of damage and he's got an Executioner. So I'm going to go for Leave Your Mark. I was hoping to sneak Chiaki down this flank and just drop into his backfield. She's incorporeal, so she can go through this building all nicely and get some cover. But he's put a bit of weight on this flank, and with the Hunter here, my plan is to stall him on this flank with Chiaki and run the Emissary around this flank. Put up some shards in the centre here in the first turn, so I can get a dog in the second turn, and then fly him up over here solo, where he's more than capable of dropping a ton of markers by himself. Let's get it on! Turn 1, always nice to see the Red Durka. I feel an expunge coming on. So yeah, back once again to this picture. I'm just moving Rafkin out. I've deployed such that most of these guys are in McMorning's Undead bubble, which gives them extra walk from the Carrion Emissary. And Rowan's here so that she can cover a charge into the centre or into the flank if I desperately need it. And making sure that there's gaps around her so that my other models can fit through. We've got a Lawyer coming out over here. The Hunter's made its way... the Ostringer has pushed the Hunter, I think. And I've tried to lure the Lawyer with this bell, who could just see his feet, and it's totally failed. But that's why you bring two. So a little bit further on, I'm trying to stall activations, trying to get something else to come in range, so I can lure it with my bells. I've put Sebastian up into a kind of central, but hopefully defended position. The guild haven't really got any credible shooting other than Lucius's sniper, so I'm not too worried about this. I've flown the Emissary over here, put down the markers so that Sebastian will have a nice corpse marker, zombie next turn, and then got him over here to the flank. I'm very wary of Francisco and this executioner, so I'm not going to put him up over here. And we're going to take the safe route round here. It means giving up turn 2 leave your marker, but hopefully I'll be able to score it every turn after that. I've also placed the shards like this so that I've got a lure route through this side, and I can charge in, stuff this side. Blocking the centre like this is pretty dumb, and I should have tucked this marker down here behind this rock because this is being blocked anyway, pretty much. Lucius has done some wandering around commanding people, and the hunter ends up around on the midline dropping lots of scheme markers. Again, I'm trying to stall to allow Francisco some time to come forwards, hopefully then I can snag him with the bell. The idea being here, I probably should have mentioned that I think Guild are fairly slow, and I've learnt that they need to be pulled apart. Sometimes that means splitting up your guys and going wide, but against this crew in particular, I want to try to stretch it lengthways, pulling things out towards my zone, killing it before the others can get there and support it. But anyway, I decide this is time to activate Chiaki. She double walks over here so she can be within 10 inches and range at the hunter, and makes it insignificant. It hasn't activated, but my thinking is she'll be a tempting target for it to charge, and hopefully she'll survive, and then I can nab it with morning nice and early. What I didn't anticipate was the fact that it's got a harpoon gun, against which Chiaki's defense 4 is pathetic defense. So she gets reeled in and pounced on, and the red joker makes sure this hunter puts her in the ground. So now this flank is totally my opponent's. I'm almost certain he's going for claim jump with the way he's been placing his initial markers. And it would definitely make sense for a Lucius crew. And if I don't do something about this, he's going to be scoring points off this all game. So yeah, this was not a good start. So I quickly come up with a plan. And it's risky because I can't measure without giving away to my opponent what I'm up to. So I just have to hope I've guessed the range right. So the doggy goes, runs all the way around the trees to be in a decent position, not blocking up any useful lanes, and then farts on morning, giving him 2 poison. And then using the bell to lure the, guild lawyer out forwards. It would be nice to get him somewhere where my crew can nab him early next turn, but really what I'm doing is just playing for time, trying to get Francisco and the executioner to commit towards the centre, so I can send McMorning out around the flank to take out the hunter. And I think it's also, it's kind of convincing, like I'm setting up an attack run to go on the lawyer with McMorning, although really I've scuppered that plan by placing these markers here. Francisco goes and whisks the lawyer back to safety and then comes over here. Lucius of course has El Mayor. I'm fine with this, as they're all back here and he either loses time walking towards the centre, allowing my emissary to run around the side, or he goes out wide where he's not supporting his friends and I can really crush the centre. So yeah, this was a good move and I wasn't expecting it, but it doesn't really interfere with my plans too much. So with no one else to go, McMorning makes his move. Taking Catalyst Poison, he pushes through the forest, he then walks, and wouldn't you know it, I am just within range to charge. And I blow through that hunter like a freight train made of bricks. Cheating the red joker for the expunge guarantees me the flesh construct, who's now camping on Chiaki's head, tying up the changeling, and protecting McMorning from being charged by, say, the executioner, who might want to turn his attentions this way. Because the brute has come lumbering over here, and I really don't like McMorning's chances being defense 5 against this thing, so I'm more than happy to have a flesh construct there to meat shield. And this is how the board looks at the end of the turn. Turn 2. This is the best I could get even after soulstoning, but fear not, my opponent's was even worse. I think the highest he had was an 8. So the big moves that we want to do this turn are going to be somewhat in the hands of fate. I lose initiative, what's this little changeling thing blinks and marks for death both my dudes. My flesh construct ignores manipulative, so I guess he figured he might as well do this now. I mark it for death in return with the flesh construct and don't think I do any damage to it otherwise. We've got this lawyer slinking up behind the building, giving hard to wound on everyone. I don't really care. I lure Francisco forward and try to slow him with my undressing, but he's having none of it. The Ortegas, they like to keep it in the family. And I've wandered my zombie over here to try to gum up his charged lane on Sebastian. Again, trying to leave space for models either side. And what I want to do is try to lure him in again, get poison on him either by summoning the dog and attacking him or getting the Chihuahua in, so then Rafkin can then charge in and hopefully do enough damage so that Sebastian's auras will finish him off. Bell moves up to enact the plan, but he's having none of it. I think I might have tried to slow him again, as I'm hoping that my opponent will charge him forwards and save me the effort, but my opponent's too experienced a player to fall for something that obvious. Over here, the Austringer has been getting the Changeling to drop more markers, and then I think Lucius has been moving around, making the Austringer pump my flesh construct, getting me to discard cards, which, you know, my hand's so shit, I don't really care. But in the end of it all, the Changeling ends up right round here, and I'm more than happy for that, because it means that Morning's not engaged, and I've now got space to summon a flesh construct. Which I do by rancid transplanting the Changeling, expunging it to get the construct, jiggling over to get the Hunter's head, and then this is the Changeling's head here. Jackie's head is under this base still. I was wrong, the Changeling was actually here. I was trying to place this flesh construct so that I could block the charge from the Executioner on the one with the mark for death. I couldn't quite get it over enough to block line of sight. But yeah, from having nothing in this alley, I feel I've got a fairly strong presence here now. Back in the centre, Sebastian summons a dog and just runs around here. Again, I'm worried about Francisco getting a charge on him, so I've moved him back. Maybe I should have gone more aggressive up here and tried to get him in induction range, but yeah, that's what I did. Francisco drops a marker and then shoots the dog, but can't hurt it. Again, my opponent's hand was terrible. I can't get the Chihuahua in range to put poison on Francisco, so I just move it over here. The dog then just walks up here to block both scheme markers. Rafkin moves up towards the centre to get in range for next turn. And the Carrion Effigy drops its shards over here and then flutters up the side, making its run. At the end of the turn, the shards go away and I get into the zombie. And I'm pretty happy with this. I've got a heavy presence on this flank and in the centre. It'd be better if McMorning was in the centre, but what can you do? He's holding down this flank quite capably and forcing my opponent to divert a lot of resources over to this side. As I should mention that the Executioner charged in, got his flesh construct, and yeah, these things don't joke around. I think it might have been another red joker, but he took my flesh construct down like it was nothing and hasn't even popped his upgrade. So I'm not thrilled about that, but I still think I'm in a fairly strong position here. So at the end of this turn, I score for Headhunter and Mark for Death, and my opponent scores Mark for Death. Turn 3, considerably better hand. I decide not to Soulstone, well, because really that's quite good. But also I reckon I'm going to need those Soulstones, and I'm particularly wary of how much the Austringer and the Executioner can wreck my hand. In the alleyway, shit goes down. I can't remember who got initiative, it might have been me, but the Flesh Construct beats on the Executioner. I'm just trying to whittle it down and put poison on it so that McMorning can expunge and get rid of the threat for good. I think I do quite well. I think I put like 4 damage and 3 poison on him. It's pretty good going. But then, oh my goodness, Lucius decides if you want a job done right, you do it yourself. And he wades into the mix. And between his attacks and probably bird attacks and hidden sniper attacks, he totally wastes my Flesh Construct. I believe he's spending Soulstones for Rams to get Critical Strike and getting the stone back by damaging his friends. But yeah, that's like 26 wounds the guild has dished out in a rather uncomfortably short space of time, and yeah, they're not dicking around. And this was a bit of an interesting move. So as part of his Hurricane of Destruction, Lucius got the Executioner out of dodge around here and away from McMorning. Clearly he's fed up of his cronies being turned into Flesh Constructs. But I'm pretty happy with this. It's taken a huge pressure off this flank. And McMorning's sitting pretty on all these heads. I'm denying any marker schemes he might be doing here. And I figure it's going to take the Executioner a turn or two at least to get back into any meaningful presence in the game. So yeah, McMorning's dabbing his brow a bit. Over in the centre, the dog marks Francisco for death and mauls him for some decent damage and some poison, importantly. Really annoyingly, the Austringer pulls him out of combat and gets him to drop this marker over here. And now I'm worried that he's going to control and try to head off my carrion emissary who's just over here. So I'm kind of forced to commit Rafkin or Rowan a little bit earlier than I'd planned and charge her in against Francisco. He hasn't activated yet, so I know I'm going to take a flurry to the face and most probably lose Rowan, but I decide that's probably good enough, as long as I can put some decent damage on him and get Sebastian to finish him off with induction. And my girl goes in and she does me proud. Red Joker on a double negative flip. So he's down to hard to kill with a decent poison stack, but 4 attacks, I couldn't finish him. He goes back and miraculously Rowan survives on 1 wound remaining. At a girl. Seeing that I'm probably not going to be able to take Francisco down this turn and get his head, I decide to risk it, go with McMorning. I position him so he's touching both the head and both scheme markers, pick up the head and get rid of both scheme markers in one action. This puts him very much in charge range of the Executioner, who still hasn't activated, but I figure it's not really very likely I'm going to be able to get McMorning out of this alley and back into the game. The scores are still relatively close, and I just need to keep on scoring and sell my life dearly in this alley. Hopefully the dock can last long enough to starve the guild of any more points in the next couple of turns. And also, you never know your luck. This lawyer's come to join his master, and he could make a very nice flesh construct. Over here, I get a bit too excited. The carrion emissary's gone and dropped its marker for Leave Your Mark, but I also use its 0 action to summon a flesh construct, which is technically illegal because I have to wait till the end of the turn to get my second destined point for scoring the second head. So this is rather naughty of me. And the Executioner is plodding over to punish me for my filthy cheatingness. Finally, in the centre, I've pulled Rafkin out with the Belle, who took her dangerous train like a man and wandered through to get more involved. I couldn't have Rowan suffer the indignity of being slapped to death by the Scribe. I've got a Rotten Belle up here central, ready to try to lure the Executioner away from my scoring models over here. And Sebastian has moved right up in Francisco's face. Francisco did heal, back over his hard to kill, hard to wound, or whatever it is, which is super annoying. I really hate it when they do that. But he's looking down the barrel of 6 more damage to come before he next gets to swing, and I'm thinking it's about time one of my opponents didn't make the 3 damage prevention flip to stop this. Turn 4. That's the hand I'm looking for. So I think I go with my flesh construct, drop a scheme marker, and then wander off over here. And despite the utter unforgettable spanking Hiddlefun gave me with the Executioner, I've forgotten how fucking annoying they are when it comes to denying you scheme markers. So the Executioner drops his upgrade, walks around over here, charges my carrion effigy, smacks it for some red joker damage because why the fuck not? It misses its second attack because I cheat the 13, I figure why not make him work for it. He then eats my scheme marker for another attack, and I found that my 13s are working, so I cheated my other one and keep the emissary alive. But seriously, these things are rapid, it crossed the entire fucking board, and is messing up my scheme running. But in better news, the bloodthirsty hellhound that is the Chihuahua can't wait for Francisco to die ignobly of poison, like the Scribe did, by the way, who copped it at the end of the turn. And so the slavering beast runs around here to get nice and line of sight on Francisco and get out of the way of people who are following up, and brutally expunges the bastard. Marked for death scored, head dropped conveniently in pickup location. Oh my goodness, I love this little doggy. So by the end of the turn, Rafkin's picked up Francisco's head, Sebastian turned his corpse into a dog, which we went around to here, and then moved up to be here to be in induction range of the Executioner, which didn't matter because it turns out that the carrion emissary was more than happy to kill it, dropping some more shards. One of the bells gets up here and places a scheme marker, and the Stringer and the Scribe collude to get into position to block it, which is very annoying. So the dog that had been engaging Francisco ran over here 6 inches and dropped the ski marker just out of range, and which I've just picked up. Oh, I don't have a good picture of it, so we'll go back up to this one. The duel between McMorning and Matheson commences. I think Lucius might have scooped up ahead along the way and then hits McMorning with red tape and sniper shots. My plan was to just disengage and try to go pick up this head, but in the end I got Francisco's head, so I decided to, have a bit of fun, as McMorning really doesn't have that much more to contribute to the game. I've been hanging on to an 11 of crows, I think, for that disengage, but let's see if Matheson can take the heat. So McMorning's, as I said, got red tape, giving him a minus to the attack. I know Lucius can ditch cards to get me an extra negatives on my attack, so I decided to go all in. Soulstone for a plus flip, double focus. Let's see how he likes 6 damage with no Soulstone prevention and some poison. That should keep things interesting. My opponent ditches 2 cards to keep me at a negative to hit, and I fail the duel. Seriously, never try to kill Lucius. Or if you do, try to drown him with chaff at the top of the turn, so he's less inclined to just ditch his hand for invulnerability. But yeah, that was really funny. Okay then, turn 5. It's not a great hand, but hopefully we've done enough. I think I lose the initiative, and Matheson takes down McMorning with an impeccable slap from his pimp cane. I want like minimum damage 4 or 5 from his hidden sniper, with all the critical strikes. Exquisitely done, Secretary. Back in the centre, however, the lackeys are rather pulling their weight. I think the lawyer's gone double defensive and hard to wound. The bell has lured him forward and marked him for death. The other bell has lured him forward and then run back over here to make sure I'm guarding this marker. The chihuahua's just moved over here, bitten him a bit and pissed on him, whatever it does, to give him poisoned. Annoyingly, I can't actually get the oh shit, yes I should have just moved over here and got the charge. Never mind. The dog just moves in and attacks. That was pretty dumb. But now, since there are 2 dogs around him, he's at -2 to his defense. He still puts on quite a fight, actually. These things can roll with the hits, so the 2 dogs maul him a bit. But then Rowan just saunters around the corner, charges him for 1 AP, and shivs him with the red joker. Final mark for death scored, head dropped. Flesh Construct picks up the head, and Sebastian goes and summons a frickin' pack of dogs for shits and giggles. Carrion Emissary drops his marker, and that's it, guys. That's the game. Pure chaos. But let's go to the scores. So, the guild scored 3 points, I'm pretty sure, for Headhunter. Now, this was really hard to keep track of, so forgive me, but I'm pretty sure. So, we got these heads here. Lawyer got this head. This is someone's head here, I think. Not here when Lucius killed McMorning, so I think Lucius picked the head up on his way into battle. This is McMorning's head, which the Austringer delivered orders to get Lucius to pick up in the last turn. 2 points for Mark for Death, and no points for Claim Jump. The Resurrectionists scored 4 points for Headhunter, 2 by McMorning, and then we got Francisco and the Lawyer's head. 3 points for Mark for Death, Changeling, Francisco, Lawyer, and 3 points for Leave Your Mark, making this game 10-5 to the Resurrectionists. I was trying to concentrate on moving my models better and not blocking myself in so much, and I think I improved this game, making sure there are base size gaps on either side of models that are being pushed out, extended from the kind of the crew core, or trying to hug the sides when I can, but leaving gaps just enough to get line of sight. That kind of thing. I certainly didn't feel I traffic jammed as much this game. Losing Chiaki so early on was a bit of an error, but sometimes you just forget what models do. I didn't like the fact I was forced to bring McMorning around the side. I think Master's much better suited to the middle of play. But oh my goodness, I can't argue with his results. We went through this alley like a Vindaloo enema. But hats off to my opponent, he plugged it in the end. I mean, he did what, 40 wounds? Jeez, Lucius is a beast. Seriously not to be underestimated. So that was the game, and many thanks to my opponent. He was a really top guy, lots of fun to play, and I hope we get a rematch soon. He struck me as a reasonably experienced player, but I think this is only his second game with Lucius. I don't really know Lucius very well, but I think he played a good game considering. Guilds seem to work best when they can bunch up and control the centre, and I'm sure he would have wanted to, but what can you do when you get a whole new crew springing up down one flank? And another in the centre, actually. I mean, that poison dog engine is really quite a handful once it gets going. But yeah, that was the game, and I'll leave you with this glorious image of the Doom Wawa gifting Francisco with the sweet release of death. And I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. Take care.